Dear students, good morning. Welcome to La Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 12th September 2020. The first article for discussion is A Game of Chess in the Himalayas. This article is written in the context of recent standoff in Himalayas, which is continuing. Here, author is trying to bring in comparisons between 1962 context and present day situation. Remember, there are few circumstances which have led to war in 1962, and China has a plan behind that. And even author believes that China has a plan today, and the circumstances support that. The first thing is Chinese wanted to occupy Tibet, and they occupied it, and India has agreed to recognize the sovereignty of China over Tibet. Why? Nehru wanted to have friendly relations with China. After that, Nehru never believed a war is possible between India and China, and he thought they are the natural leaders of Asian continent. China, on the other hand, is following the unity and struggle strategy against India. So it tries to take the help and cooperation of India, and as and when necessary for its goals, it is ready to fight India. India missed on to this. Before, Nehru thought about only unity, and later he thought only about struggle. Unity and struggle continued simultaneously for China. In that scenario, China had clashes with Indian army at Longju and then at Kongla Pass. Then Nehru has reacted to it and initiated a forward policy. It means patrol posts will be created across line of actual control. Now China considered it as a provocation, and finally it has led to war. In this case, the Dalai Lama fleeing to India is an important event that has happened in between. Later, situation did not change on the ground. Even today, boundary is still not demarcated. China is not accepting the McMahon line, and India is not accepting China's control over Aksai Chin region. You might have remembered China-Pakistan economic corridor. It goes through Gilgit-Baltistan. Obviously, Chinese infrastructure built up is questioning the Indian sovereignty there. In this case, as no one thought before, these incidents can lead to a full scale war. Even today, no one is thinking that they are not going to lead to a full scale war. Remember that China's view is strategic dominance, and we have to understand it in the wider context. In those days, Great Leap Forward was a great failure for Mao Zedong. Because of that, he wants to ensure legitimacy by creating nationalistic sentiments among Chinese, and India has become the victim of that. China is always interested in strategic dominance rather than strategic engagement. Today, China's credibility across the world as it's at its low because of COVID-19. China's economic might is not making many of the world leaders not to talk about China. But still the entire world knows that China has something to do with COVID-19. And investments, economic might of the China is also coming under question because China is assertive like never before, and the world is looking at China with suspicion. In this context, the China need to be united behind their army and leader. Is India is again becoming a scapegoat for this? That is what we need to think on. The next article, Glimmer of Hope. So there are other articles, news reports also the same. India, China agree on 5-point action plan. Divergences remain despite 5 action plan. 5-point plan. All these articles I am going to cover as one single article because information is related. You know, China and India's external affairs ministers engaged on the sidelines of Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting. They drew of 5 points to disengage and de escalate the existing situation at the border. But remember, can we trust China? We have to wait and see. In this case, what are these 5 points? First is troops should quickly disengage, maintain proper distance, and shall work towards easing the tensions between the countries. Second, inspire from the words of the great leaders of both the countries. That is, differences shall not become disputes. These words have been stated by Xi Jinping and Modi at Madras Connect. And next, abide by all existing agreements and protocols on China India boundary affairs. Maintain peace and tranquility at borders and avoid any action that escalate matters. Now the question is, who is violating these bilateral agreements and protocols? China is accusing India, and India has clearly shown with proofs that it is not India who is violating these bilateral agreements and protocols. Next, continued dialogue through special representative mechanism on India-China border. And there is also another working mechanism for consultation and cooperation on India-China border. This also shall continue. And then bring in new confidence building measures to maintain peace and tranquility in borders. These are the 5 points. But there was no joint conference. Normally, this kind of things are spoken by both the leaders in a joint conference. This time, separate conferences are made. And there is also disagreement in their statements and dissonance in their statements. Let us see that. India has connected broader relationship with China to peace at border. But China says border relationship is no way connected with the broader relationship with India. Let us see clearly. India agreed to move in right direction and to put the border question in context. This is what China said. Border question in a proper context. What is that context? Is the new asset to China to be recognized? Is the proper context? The China is not clear onto that. It also said broader relations between these two countries are not dependent on settlement of boundary question. But Indian leadership, External Affairs Minister especially, even in his book, stated that the border question is important and peace at the border is important to take forward the relations between India and China. These are the differences which we saw. Finally, please verify before you disengage, because the China's trust, our China lost the trust of the world and also lost the trust of India and its people. So any disengagement shall be verified before it actually takes place. Blindly trusting China is not worth it. That is what the incidents prove us. Next article is pushback. This is about US China relations. Chinese students who are studying in various US universities and doing research are being revoked with their visas. Why? USA believes that they are involved with industrial espionage and taking away the property rights, especially research based data to China related to COVID 19, etc. But we have to see it in the larger context. One is China's action against democratic activists in Hong Kong. Second, human rights violations in Xinjiang, going on US China trade off, and issues in South China Sea. In this context, this particular diplomatic action by USA is reflection of larger divide existing between USA and China. And second, Trump administration is trying to interact and engage with Russia friendly but not with China. And third most important thing here, till now any kind of visa revocations are being applied uniformly across the countries, but this time USA is selective on Chinese students. This all shows that everything is not good between two major economies in the world. And as it is the election season, probably Trump is playing to the gallery, we do not know. But it is not good for the global economy, that's how I can put it as. The next is smoothing the housing rights of the urban poor. This article is written in the context of recent Supreme Court judgment headed by Justice Arun Mishra's panel. What it says is the Juga Jopri or slum dwellings along the railway lines have to be cleared. This is what has been stated by Supreme Court. The author argues that it goes against the principles of natural justice, right to life, right to shelter, which are been stated in the previous Supreme Court judgments, and also rehabilitation, slum eviction and rehabilitation policy of Delhi government. First is principles of natural justice are violated as no right to hearing was entertained for the residents of these local slums. You remember from NCRT that a case, Olga Tillis and others versus Bombay Municipal Corporation. In this, Supreme Court has clearly stated right to life also include right to livelihood. Later in Chameli Singh versus State of UP, Supreme Court has stated right to shelter is a component of right to life under Article 21 and 19(1)(a). You know, 1918 talks about freedom of movement. Article 21 talks about right to life. In Sudama Singh and others versus Government of Delhi, certain guidelines were laid out in eviction of slum dwellers. What are they? First, conduct a survey and bring in a mutual engagement with these slum dwellers, meaningful and mutual engagement. So, based on this, rehabilitation and relocation policy of Delhi has come into 2015. In this scenario, there was no meaningful engagement with the slum dwellers. Here, Delhi High Court made right to shelter is integral to right to life and right to livelihood. In Ajay McCain versus Union of India case, Delhi High Court clearly stated right to life and right to shelter are related. Remember carefully. In Volga Tillis case, right to life includes right to livelihood. In Ajay McCain case, right to livelihood includes what is that? Right to shelter. So author argues that all these are being violated in this case. Report flags increase in crimes against Dalit. What is the name of the report? Quest for Justice. This is released by National Dalit Movement for Justice. What it says, atrocities and violence against the Dalits have increased like never before. And it is basing on NCRB National Crime Records Bureau's recent report for this. Second, SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act is not getting well implemented on the ground. Though there is a law, but political will is lacking. FIRs are not being registered on time, and 88.5% of cases under this act do not see the trial between 2009 and 2018. So, delayed justice is the major reason for lack of fear of this particular law. Recently, Supreme Court has stated that this law is also getting misused, which has led to a lot of anguish among the Dalit community. So, in this case, please quote this report in your answer related to social justice questions. Finally, let virtual courts stay law panel. Parliamentary panel on law and justice. It has recommended that these virtual courts have to continue. Why? These are very instrumental in reducing the number of cases, pending cases before the courts. In this case, infrastructure is a major issue. So, the panel also recommended that infrastructure upgradation is immediate necessity. So, these are the articles for today. Thank you very much.